about all of this. Does this mean that you now have some sort of a relationship with UFC?
I have no relationship with the UFC, and that's largely because of Dana White. He decided that I was the enemy. I think they felt like they were stuck with me. When they bought the company, I was the heavyweight champion. I just signed with new management. We started pointing out a lot of the issues in this 17-page piece of crap document that they call the contract. And
now I don't ever have to be in business with him ever again.
Did you tell Tito not to be here at the presser?
No.
You liar!
Yeah, they're trying to guide me out the door, up the escalators, and saying, yeah, you go this way, that way. And thank God I have my security Joshua with me that goes, no, bro, it's right here.
I don't give a f***.
Also this week, Colby Covington made some headlines. He said when he beats Kamaru Usman, he says no way he's letting you wrap the belt around him. If you do, he's going to smack you in the head with it. What's your comments on that?
Good luck with that.
Some UFC fighters don't just fight opponents. They fight Dana White. They win titles, break records, fill arenas. But for some reason, Dana acts like they never existed.
So what was the holdup with the UFC? Like, what led you to not sign?
I don't know. I tried everything. I feel like I wasn't in the right place.
I didn't like Francis as a person. Wasn't a guy I wanted to do business with. Francis isn't a good guy. Plays the good guy. I don't understand the language, and so he seems like he's a nice guy. He's not. And he's just not a guy that I wanted to be in business with.
Why does the UFC president hate promoting his own stars? Let's break down who Dana White dislikes, why he holds a grudge, and how the UFC silences fighters that don't play along. Trust me, some of this will shock you. Who are these fighters? Let's start with the hit list. If Dana White had a do not invite to the company barbecue list, these names would be in bold. Tito Ortiz, Dana's first public enemy.
Here's the problem with Tito. And Tito's just a really dumb human being. He's not intelligent at all. He's very stupid. Okay, let's start there. And I mean, look at him speak publicly anytime. Look, Google Tito Ortiz talking. We'd be coming up to a big fight that was on Saturday, right? Deals have been done for months. Tito would call and say, I'm not going to show up unless you pay me another $150,000 or whatever the number was. He would do this on the regular. Tito was always the type of guy that would step over dollars to pick up dimes.
Randy Couture left the UFC and got blacklisted harder than a pirate streaming UFC PPVs.
Can't talk to Randy Couture since the Bellator signing and his deal with them.
No.
Nope. What are your thoughts on that? You feel a little bit betrayed by Randy?
Well, I can tell you this. Randy Couture comes off as the greatest guy in the world, Captain America. He's the furthest thing from it. And I'm happy to not be in business with him anymore. Now I don't ever have to be in business with him ever again. How's that? Does that answer it?
UFC President Dana White, who was a guest on this show, wasn't too pleased when you left UFC. Why'd you leave?
Well, I mean, Spike offered me a fantastic deal to do more television and be involved, and I wasn't really getting those offers from the UFC. I was doing some commentating for Fox, but it was a fairly small deal. And,
do you have any personal feelings regarding Dana?
My son was trying to compete in the UFC, and I don't feel like he got a fair shake from Dana, and I think that was directed at me.
Cris Cyborg, one of the greatest women fighters of all time, and somehow got less promo than Dana's slap league.
I said, when I saw her at the MMA Awards, she looked like Vanderlei Silva in a dress and heels. And she did. Didn't she not? Who wants to dispute that she didn't look like Vanderlei? She got up and she was like, walking up the stairs, jacked up on steroids, beyond belief, and looked like Vanderlei Silva in a dress and heels.
You believe she's still on steroids?
I don't know.
People call me, I'm a man, I have a dick, because the joke he's doing. How is the boss make fun the other athlete?
Dealing with her has been a nightmare the entire time she's been here. Her legacy and her brand, nothing's better than knowing that she's a clean athlete after testing positive for steroids and all the negativity that surrounded her about being a dirty athlete, right? She's unhappy, we're unhappy, she lies and does that thing. See you later. Have a nice life.
Tyron Woodley, champ during a golden era, treated like he borrowed money and didn't pay back.
I guess the opposite side of that scenario was Woodley's win tonight. Certainly didn't necessarily entertain the crowd quite as much. What did you think watching that fight?
About watching what fight?
The Woodley fight and beating Maya.
What did you think about watching the Woodley fight? Listen, when you break a record for the least punches ever thrown in a 5-round fight, in a title fight, and you beat it by, it was like 130, and these guys threw 60 or something like that. I mean, I think that sums it up.
When you say that I'm a freak athlete, does that mean that I don't work hard, that I'm going to fade in the later rounds, that I don't have great cardio, that I don't have a great skill set.
All right, Drama Queen 1 and Drama Queen 2.
Oh, no. Only one Drama Queen.
How did I go from
Only one Drama Queen in this scene.
Demetrious Johnson, GOAT flyweight, but not a draw, according to Dana.
When he was here, I was defending him from the fans, you know? So he has the lowest selling pay-per-view in the history of the UFC in the modern era.
I mean, this guy really stinks. This DJ guy, what a loser, am I right? He has the lowest selling pay-per-view in the modern era. That didn't stop you putting Nunes in main events back to back to back and paying her millions, did it?
I'm not thrilled with Demetrious Johnson.
You fat fool liar!
Listen, you can't be in a position where you're like, I want $2 million. Fuck you, I don't care what you make.
When you're the best in the world, you should be paid like the best in the world. It doesn't matter if you don't bring enough fucking eyeballs. That's just my opinion.
Francis Ngannou, literally the baddest man on the planet, but apparently asking for fighter healthcare is too much.
The fighters are not protected. Fighters are all out there on their own. I walk around the gym sometime, then you will see a fighter, maybe he just lost a fight, and then he's training, then get injury. He will take this injury, like just hope that he heals up because he can't afford the treatment.
We offered Francis a deal that would have made him the highest paid heavyweight in the history of the company. More than Lesnar, more than anybody. And he turned the deal down. I think Francis is in a place right now where he doesn't want to take a lot of risk. Feels like he's in a good position where he could fight lesser opponents and make more money. So we're gonna let him do that. We're gonna release him from his contract. We're gonna give up our right to match, and he can go wherever he wants and do whatever he wants.
He's been throwing little stone on my way like this, like trying to buck me. Like
Aljamain Sterling won the belt and got less respect than Jake Paul gets in MMA circles. And let's be honest, even Nate Diaz was just a paycheck away from being banned until he slapped someone on the way out, which somehow boosted his stock again. What did they do to deserve the wrath? Did they fail drug tests, trash hotel rooms, kick Dana's puppy? Nope. They committed the real sins in the UFC, asking to get paid what they're worth, saying no to Dana, wanting boxing fights on the side, publicly criticizing the UFC.
Nobody's me off more than Tito Ortiz. I was going to make him look stupid.
At the time, they were in talks about getting rid of the flyweight division.
We've been talking about shutting down the flyweight division for about 3 years. He has the lowest selling pay-per-view in the history of the UFC. Francis wants to take zero risks, where he's got some Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight, which he does not.
Everyone said he was an idiot for walking away from the UFC. Guy's about to make $10 million. Oh! Tyson Fury goes down!
The fact that he went 10 rounds with Tyson Fury is crazy.
Let's take a closer look. Tito Ortiz just wanted more money, more respect, and maybe to punch Dana White in a boxing ring. Literally. Dana actually accepted, then ghosted him like a bad Tinder date. Tyron Woodley won 5 title fights, but apparently wasn't entertaining enough. Yeah, I guess dominant wrestling isn't as flashy as Jorge Masvidal flying knees. Demetrious Johnson broke records, defended his belt 11 times, and Dana's promo was basically, he's good, I guess. Anyway, check out this other guy. Cyborg got KO'd by Nunes, and then Dana decided to treat her like she never existed. It was like the UFC version of getting Thanos snapped. Francis Ngannou won the belt, fought on one leg, and wanted fair pay. So Dana left his own event instead of putting the belt on him. That's the MMA version of rage quitting your own game. When did it all go south? Most of these fallouts have a very clear breaking point. That moment where Dana White went from, this guy's a warrior, to, I never liked him anyway. 2005, Tito versus Dana was already boiling, but the failed boxing match was the final straw. Dana started publicly calling him the dumbest human being alive. 2018, Mighty Mouse says he's tired of being underpromoted. Dana says, cool, and trades him to Asia like he's a Pokemon card. And 2023, Aljamain Sterling wins his fight. Dana says he didn't really win, and then fast-tracks the next title fight without consulting him. Bro was literally a champ without privileges. Where does the drama go down? Press conferences. where he's more honest than a lie detector test.
Up the bonuses. Do you think there's an argument that maybe you should just up them?
I think tonight showed that we should not. No, upping them doesn't change anything. It doesn't make anybody fight any harder. It doesn't change anything. I'm not doing this again. Ever. Today was the last.
Interviews.
What I was asking you, Dana, was have you ever been like threatened by one of the fighters? Or
Yeah, there's been situations where guys have not been happy with me, and I had a guy say, "I whoop your ass," and I'd do this and that. And
Dana once called a literal champion, Tyron Woodley, boring on ESPN. Imagine your boss doing your performance review live on SportsCenter. Here's the real question. Why? Why would the president of the UFC throw shade at his own champs? 2 words: control and ego. Dana White doesn't just run the UFC. He is the UFC, at least in his mind. He wants fighters to fight when told, smile in pressers, take the money offered, and never challenge the system. The second a fighter says, "Hey, I'm not happy with this contract," Dana morphs into MMA's version of Gordon Ramsay, just yelling into microphones and making wild analogies. He likes company men, fighters like Sean O'Malley, Michael Chandler, or even Conor McGregor, when he's not throwing dollies at buses. These are fighters who fight hard and hype harder. But once you start talking about fighter pay, sponsorship rights, or outside boxing deals, you're about to get Dana'd. How does the UFC handle disliked fighters? Simple. They control the narrative. They undercut their popularity in promos. They rush title fights to get them dethroned. They bury them in prelims or bad matchups. Or they just let them walk. Remember this. Dana once said, "Francis doesn't want to fight." "Francis, I asked to fight. You said no." Demetrious, "I wanted to fight TJ Dillashaw." Dana, "He's scared." Cyborg, "I never ducked Nunes." Dana, "Liar. It's like an ex making up stories to their friends, but instead of a breakup, it's the UFC PR machine. So next time you wonder why a champ isn't getting any promo love, or why a fighter disappears after a big win, ask yourself, is Dana mad at them? Because in the UFC, it doesn't matter if you're the champ or the GOAT. If Dana White doesn't like you, you're fighting the toughest opponent of all, the promotion itself. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown, drop your favorite Dana feud in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more MMA madness, with no filters and no favoritism. Catch you in the next one, legends.